Motorola launched the third-generation Moto G in India on Tuesday, bringing back so many old memories. Call it a blast from the past if you may. Feels like only yesterday when the Lenovo-owned company launched the first generation of the Moto G, giving us a phone that was short and sweet, affordable yet so much functional. The Moto G now in its third generation is all about that, even more to an extent. More importantly, it's about reliving the times when smartphones were beginning to get affordable and feature-rich at the same time. The Moto G and the Moto E was never about specifications but about bringing a well-to-do smartphone to the masses. No wonder it became so much popular. But times they are changing. The Moto G Gen 3 comes at a time when the terms value for money and affordability can coexist. The combination is doing wonders if you haven't noticed. Can the Moto G Gen 3 survive the need of the hour? Well, it's too early to know that. There's no doubt that the company has tried to change with the times, and the Moto G Gen 3 seems to be a good upgrade over its predecessor, at least on paper. Will it be enough though? We'll find out soon enough. For now, here are our first impressions of the new Moto G Gen 3. Motorola has a habit of keeping a consistency in design elements when it comes to its phones. The Moto G Gen 3 is almost identical to the Moto G Gen 2 on first look, but there are subtle changes on the back. The back has a textured matte finish that gives this one a rugged appeal and improves upon the overall grip of the phone over its predecessor. All Moto devices are good to hold, so is this one. Even though it is slightly heavier and thicker than the previous phone, it still fits quite well in hand. In addition to the textured finish, the back also houses a metallic accent around the camera that ends in the Moto logo. The back is still swappable with a range of Motorola shells and 5 flip shells available in a variety of colors, and houses 2 micro SIM slots and a micro SD card slot underneath. The battery is still non-removable. The new Moto G has the same display specifics as last year's Moto G, which is a little disappointing since we have full HD options at lower prices now. It comes with the same 5-inch HD IPS LCD capacitive touchscreen display with a 720 x 1280 pixels resolution and 294 ppi density. There's not even a bump in brightness or the likes, therefore you get the same output you got in last year's Moto G. Not that it's bad. It's still a pretty good display with adequate viewing angles. Colors were a little washed out though. Almost all Moto devices come with a layer of oleophobic coating to safeguard against accidental spillage. The Moto G Gen 3 changes things for the better thanks to its IPX7 certification. This makes the new Moto G water resistant in up to 3 feet of fresh water for up to 30 minutes provided the back cover is properly sealed. The Moto G Gen 3 is the only phone in its price range to come with IPX7 certification. The Moto G Gen 3 is powered by a 1.4 GHz Quad Core Qualcomm Snapdragon 410 processor, which could be a deal breaker for some. This is because Snapdragon 615 is the new object of affection for companies making mid-range phones. Again, that thing is prone to heating, Snapdragon 410 not so much. However, last year's Moto G came with the ST400 CPU. Performance is expected on similar lines. The original Moto G came in 2 variants, an 8GB variant and a 16GB one, both having 1GB RAM. The Moto G Gen 2 skipped an 8GB version and decided to be a 16GB only smartphone with 1GB RAM. The Moto G Gen 3 takes us back to the original Moto G days again, a blast from the past moment, and gives us 8GB and 16GB variants, with a pleasant twist. The 8GB variant has 1GB RAM, while the 16GB variant comes with 2GB RAM. Motorola has priced the 8GB per 1GB RAM variant at Rs 11,999, while the 16GB per 2GB RAM version comes at Rs 12,999. Of the two, the 2GB variant will give you better value for money quotient, both in terms of storage and multitasking performance. In our brief usage, we found the new Moto G 16GB per 2GB RAM pretty nippy with smooth app transitioning. Both the variants support expandable storage of up to 32 GB via duct microSD. The Moto G Gen 3 runs Android 5.1.1 Lollipop out of the box, and like all Moto smartphones gives you stock Android experience with zero bloatware. The company gives you some proprietary pre-bundled apps like Moto Assist, Moto Actions and Moto Display, but they are non-intrusive. Now if you've used a Moto smartphone, you'll know it's the closest thing you'll ever get to stock Android. The new Moto G is a significant bump over predecessors in the camera department, at least on paper. It comes with a 13MP rear camera with autofocus and dual LED dual-tone flash. There is also a 5MP front-facing camera with wide-angle lens on this one. While we are yet to test it in varied environment scenarios, some of the images we clicked at the launch even were decent in indoor lighting. There was noise, but overall results seemed better than the previous Moto G. Additionally, the Moto G Gen 3 comes with a feature called Quick Capture that lets you launch the camera by twisting your wrist twice. Meanwhile, twisting twice again switches it to the front camera. The new Moto G uses a 2470 mAh battery, a huge upgrade to what we had in the previous generation Moto GS. Motorola is claiming it can last one full day without charging. We'll have more on that soon. There you have it. The new Moto G Gen 3 looks every bit as sweet and very functional as the previous Moto GS, at least on paper. At the same time, it is a significant upgrade in almost all departments over its predecessors. It is 4G LTE capable too. Motorola has also kept the price in line with what previous Moto GS were priced at. But there are concerns. The new Moto G is certainly not the most well-endowed smartphones hardware-wise in this price range. Rivals are giving you better phones at considerably lower prices. However, as mentioned earlier, it was never about specifications with the Moto G, and as far as user experience is concerned, this one still packs in quite a punch.